How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about another topic, basically another one of those videos that you can add to the Init's Rants playlist, which is absolutely fine because we all love those sort of videos, right? At least a lot of you guys do. But this is kind of like a motivation one, I suppose, for a lot of players who are sucked into the whole idea of the last couple of videos that I've posted saying that there's too much, you need too much money to be able to get into PVM, and also the idea that all bosses should be accessible to everybody straight away on release. So we made the video 2 days ago talking about how Zuk did not need a nerf because you should use it as something to motivate yourself to actually work towards and have as an endgame goal. If you can't do it now, that's great because it gives you something to work towards, and if you don't have the gear for it because you think that, you know, you're in a position where you just don't have 10 bill in gear and that's what you think you need, then great, that's a good thing as well because then you've got something to work towards. There's no point in working towards any upgrades if there's no need for them. So that was a video on Zuk 2 days ago, but then also yesterday I put a video up talking about the whole cost of entry on PVM again, talking about how people always say you need the 10 bill, for example, to actually get into PVM. There's no way into it without having this much gear and you get punished for not having it. That's just not true, and in that video I proved that you could do places like Raksha and Nex and Telos, for example, with Royal Dragonhide. I used at Raksha, Royal Dragonhide and Shadowglaives I think I used. Yes, the kill times were slower, but that's not the point. The point is you can do these bosses, you're not limited from doing that. The whole point comes from experience, and getting more gear, getting better gear actually is just a way to improve your kill times, and of course it will in some situations make it better. Some bosses have standards where you're not going to be able to, for example, do Telos in Mystic Armor with a Mystic Wand and Orb. It's just not going to be viable. Some people could probably get through and do it. If you really push yourself, you could probably do it, but I just wouldn't recommend it because there's just no point. But you can do these bosses in low gear, probably just not that much, but there is like a restriction to it, but it's not high. You can do all bosses in this game on, I'd say, around about 30 or 40 mil budget, probably, maybe push it to 50. That's just your gear. You're still going to want overload, you're still going to want all your prayers and stuff like that. They're really important, they're expensive, but you should have those before you even consider doing your gear anyway. But in this video, what I wanted to talk about specifically is the actual process of that and maybe helping people understand how you actually get to this point, because I think a lot of people actually forget or just miss the whole point that these people that are in top 1%, the amount of times I see comments or hear people say, oh, this is top 1% PVMers and it's not fair because this is all catered to the top 1%, you have to be in this like ridiculous amount, you have to have all this gear and everything. What people seem to forget is the people saying this tend to be newer players into PVM, or just newer players in general who have played for about a year, maybe 2 years. And you may think that sounds like a long time, right? 2 years of playing RuneScape. These people that are up the top, these top 1% players, have been playing for 15 plus years, like at least 10 to 15, more than 15. I personally have been playing for 15 years, and I absolutely would not consider myself in the top 1% of players at all. There's just no chance. I am very much below that, but I am in a position where I can try on new bosses and probably have enough gear and experience to get past most bosses, not on release, but like in the short term after that. That being said, these people seem to just forget that the top 1% do not get there straight away. They didn't wake up the next day and go, yeah, I suddenly have 10 bill of gear and I can suddenly do all these bosses. Like, that's just not the way it works. But if I gave all of my gear, if I gave my best in slot magic gear, which is, I think it's best in slot, there might be a couple of things that aren't, but if I gave that to someone who had been doing PVM for a month, they wouldn't be able to do many of the bosses in the game still. That's not going to just carry them across. So not only does gear not make that much of a difference, the main thing that you need to consider is how long people have been doing PVM for. But this is sort of, I'm kind of wandering off point a little bit here, but what I'm trying to say is the people who are top 1%, they've invested years into practicing PVM. They have invested years into getting their gear, and it's not something that they discover overnight. Like, it didn't just happen straight away. Now, what I keep seeing as a reoccurring thing is the people who are saying like, oh, you need 10 bill of gear, or I'm restricted from doing this because I don't have this much gear. It's not that. Like, you guys kind of seem to be forgetting that these people have done that. I know you guys at the moment feel like you're kind of being sort of put off the game because you can't do Raksha in 4 minutes, right? You're thinking, I can't do Raksha because I don't have best in slot range gear, and it's not fair. If I try and do Raksha, I'm going to just die over and over again because of my gear, and also even if I do get through a kill, it's going to take me 15 minutes. Yes, it might do, depending on how much gear you've got and how much experience you've got. But if you are someone who has 100 million gear, right, you have 100 mil. That's the baseline for I'm going to set for this, for example. You could scale it down, guys, scale it down, scale it up for wherever you are. What you should be doing is playing at the level that you are at. And what I mean by that is, if you have 100 mil of gear, The chances are, unless you are an absolute pro who has like been hacked or something and is trying to rebuild their bank, you should not be aiming for these big 1.5 bill plus drops at these bosses. You shouldn't be trying to do Zook. You shouldn't be trying to do Raksha. You shouldn't be trying to do Kerapak in hard mode for these big drops. What you should be focusing on is bosses that you can do fairly consistently and without any worry, because all these people who are getting these 1 bill plus drops, all these people that have 10 bill plus gear, they were at the same point as you at one point. At one point, they were in the exact same position. They had the same gear as you. They had the same experience as you. And these big bosses weren't even out then. They weren't killing Zook. They weren't killing Kerapak or Raksha. They were basically killing the bosses that you should be killing now, which is Nex. You should be killing Nex. You should be killing Araxor. You should be killing bosses in God Wars 2 for a bit of money as well. A Dragon Rider Lance, I believe, is still about 40 mil. You should be killing that. That 40 mil, if you have 100 mil in gear and you get 40 mil drop, that is absolutely huge. You have just almost got half of what you've already got in one drop. And then you can get an upgrade with that. I used to spend so long throwing myself at Telos, doing 10-minute kills, just so I could get one upgrade. I finished my orb set, doing around about 8 to 10-minute kills at Telos, and obviously that is just not good whatsoever, but I finished my orb set, which was around about 800 mil profit at the time, and then I spent that 800 mil profit on one upgrade. I believe I bought myself a Staff of Siliske, maybe? I can't remember exactly what it was. No, actually it wasn't. I didn't buy any gear. I bought a prayer. I bought the tier 99 curse for magic. I bought that, and then I threw myself back at Telos doing 7 to 8 minute kills rather than 8 to 10 minute kills, because you need these upgrades, right? But I spent about 5 months, and I'm not even joking, throwing myself at Telos day in, day out, because I was bad at the boss, but I was improving each time I did this. And also, it just took that long for me to do it. It took me that long to do those kills. I couldn't streak that high without actually dying and losing the streak, so getting the drops took me ages as well. But after those 5 months, I ended up with 800 mil profit, and I upgraded some stuff, and that money that I got reinvested straight back into PVM and improving the actual gameplay for me, right? I'm not saying you guys should throw yourself at Telos for 5 months. Please don't go and do that. That was stupid of me. I shouldn't have done that whatsoever. In those 5 months of throwing myself at Telos, I could have done Nex, I could have done Araxor, I could have done God Wars 2, I could have done like so much stuff that I really could have made so much more money. Like 5 months of just doing the same boss to get one drop is not a good idea. But what I'm trying to say is I was in a position where I was getting stupidly slow kills in places, and all I did was just grind it out. You've just got to put the time in, you've got to put the effort in. I learnt Telos, and now I can streak it pretty well without like too much effort, and I can make a lot of money there. But I wasn't in that position to begin with. You have to put the time in, guys. You have to get that gear upgrade. You've got to play at your level. If you have 200 mil, 300 mil, 400 mil worth of gear, scale it. Do not go to Zook with 400 mil worth of gear if you're not experienced enough to get through the kills. You could probably do it. If you have 200 to 400 mil worth of gear, you could probably do Zook. You probably could. But you're going to need a lot of experience in PVM. You just are. And if that's all you have, then you probably don't have enough experience anyway to get through it. You've got to do these bosses and work your way up the ladder. There's a ladder in PVM. I will put a video in the description that I made talking about a PVM progression path, basically getting into PVM and learning it. And I talk about the steps that you should go. You should go from like Vindicta, moving your way to Helwyr, and then moving your way to like Araxor and Nex. And then once you get to Nex, then you move your way up again to like Raksha. And then there's a long way to go through it. But you don't just kill these bosses once each and then move on to the next one. That's just not how it works. You're going to spend weeks, months, ages at these bosses, practicing, improving how you play specifically, and once you improve, then you move on to the next one that's harder. I didn't just start at ED3. I actually went to ED3 on release day, and I got as far as the bit where all the skeletons are on the bridge. The room before that, I didn't even get to the bridge. The room before that, there was too many mobs. I thought I had to kill all of them. I was absolutely clueless. I tried killing them, ran out of food, gave up. I was like, there's just no chance. I can't do it. And for anyone wondering, go back on my channel about 2 years. You'll see the beginning of when I started preparing for God Wars 3. This is a great series for you guys to go back and watch if you are wondering how it works for someone who's learning PVM. The beginning of that, episode 1, probably for like the first 10 episodes, I was absolutely terrible at the game. But I learned from all the comments, I learned from everyone telling me stuff, and I improved my gear. I chased after the right stuff because people were telling me what I should get next, and it took a long time. I was preparing for God Wars 3 for like 2 years. Thank frick they delayed it. Honestly, I would not have been ready. I would have been so far behind, and I would have been in the same position as you guys now that just can't do these bosses because you haven't got the stuff for it, which is fine. That's not a bad thing. You should be happy with that. You really should be happy with it. And the reason being is when you get to endgame, when you get to the point where you can do every boss in the game because you've practiced for years, you've got absolute best in slot gear. Yes, you guys are thinking right now, yes, you can make so much money at this point. You can get these 1.5 bill drops, you can grind out Raksha and get greater ricochets, you can do Zook and get the Magma Tempest thing or whatever it's called, and that's 1.8 bill at the moment, but it is boring. Guys, it is ridiculously boring. Once you can do everything in the game and you've got everything, why are you playing? This question pops up a lot for people at endgame. Why am I still playing? I've got nothing to buy, but all I can do is make money. All the bosses aren't difficult in a challenge anymore, so they get kind of boring and repetitive. I can mix it up, I can do ED3 one day, then Raksha the next, and I can go to AOD with a group of friends and stuff, and that might be fun for a while. But without anything new challenging and nothing else to work towards, nothing to progress to, you go back, you do your quest, you get your com cape. Once you're at that point, the top 1% of players, they're designing content for themselves. They have to think about things that they can do. They'll do it from scratch series without even putting it on YouTube. They'll just do it themselves. They'll sell off all the stuff, or they'll go to the duel arena and stake it all away, and then if they lose, they don't care because they've got something to work towards again. People who are in high-end PVM listening at this point, go to the comments and just let us know. Write something down. I don't really know exactly what you'd write, but write something just to let us know that you can relate to this. You've been at endgame, you've got nothing left to do because you've got best in slot gear in every single combat style, or in the combat style that you're only focused on and you only care about, and you can do every boss. It's not too much of an issue anymore. There's nothing new come out in quite a while. You kind of just take a break, right? You wait for the next boss update, you wait for the next big major content update, hoping it'll be challenging. You come back, you do it for a week, and then you're bored again because you've got absolutely everything. There's no reason to keep killing this boss. You've had a week of enjoyment doing it because it's new mechanics, it's a new sort of scenery, but you just kind of feel like, nah, I'll take another break now until the next one. So guys who aren't here yet, the people who are struggling at Zook at the moment, you have so much content ahead of you that you should be happy about it. You've got stuff to work towards, you've got a goal to go towards, and honestly, that preparing for God Wars 3 series, where I had nothing to begin with and made my way to having what I've got now, was probably the most enjoyable time of playing RuneScape for me, because every day that I logged on, I always had a goal, I always had something to work towards, and it felt rewarding. Like, I was seeing improvements at bosses, my kill times were dropping all the time, I was getting little unlocks here and there, I was working on this, working on that, seeing my account progress and getting to a place where I could see improvements. Like, that was such a good feeling. But guys, you shouldn't be stressed about the fact that you can't do bosses. You shouldn't be stressed about the fact that you don't have 10 bill worth of gear. You're playing a game that's all about progress. RuneScape is about progression, it's about building your account. If you have stuff to get, if you have to get 10 bill, 20 bill more to be able to get some stuff, you've got the game ahead of you. That is the game you wanted to play. Don't be stressed that you can't do Zook right now, because there's going to be bosses coming out all the time, and eventually you're going to be in a position where you can do these bosses straight away. On release, you'll be able to do these bosses. God Wars 3 and Raksha at a push were bosses that I could do on release for the first time in 15 years of playing. I was never ready before this. I was barely ready for Raksha. God Wars 3 came out and I was ready for it, and it's been a lot of fun. But I don't do Outglacier anymore. I haven't touched Croesus because I'm just not a skiller. That's completely different. Normal mode Kerapac is just not an interest to me because it's too easy for the position that I'm in. I'm not saying Kerapac's easy, because for different people at different skill levels it's just going to be different, right? But it's just not an interest because I can kill it without really trying. Hard mode Kerapac, okay, I still enjoy that, but at the same time, like, it just feels repetitive at this point because I enjoy it to the point where I've been doing it for an hour, but if I try and do it for 2, 3, 4 hours, it's just boring. It gets boring. But I am getting tired of ED3, I'm getting tired of Raksha, I'm getting tired of ED1. I am so glad that Zook's come out and I've got hard mode Zook to work towards, because I just can't do it. I'm practicing on it, I just can't do it. I've done about 4 attempts, to be honest. I'm not practicing that much, but I've got that to work towards. I've got upgrades that I can maybe get for that with the new magic ability, and I've got stuff to work on. And honestly, I'm so damn glad that I can't get through that just yet, because if I could, I'd be going back to ED3. I'd be looking at what the most optimal way for me to make money is and just do it, grinding those out, and it's just repetitive and boring. But guys, if you are one of these people that say you need 10 bill to get into PVM, you are just trying to do the wrong PVM. That is basically the answer to this. You're doing the wrong PVM. You shouldn't be doing Raksha. You shouldn't be trying to do Zook. You shouldn't, just don't try that yet. You've got 100 million gear. A 50 mil drop is half of that. Work on the Raksor. A full spider leg is still over 100 mil, right? So do a Raksor, you double your bank. Do Nex, you've got a Tulva plate body in there that you could get. That's 150 mil, I believe, or something crazy like that. That does more than just like double your bank. It is insane. You should be working on this stuff, and once you get a bit more gear and more upgrades, upgrade it slightly, but it's here and there. You're going to also be improving your skill level as well. People who are using Revolution++, you have a big step to go. Get yourself down to Revolution. Take your thresholds and your defensives outside of the Revolution bar. Leave your basic abilities in there, that's fine. You cannot do Revolution plus plus for the entire game. It is a bad design. They should never have made it a thing in the first place because people get too comfortable with it. They should have made it so only basic abilities do Revolution, in my opinion. This is obviously my opinion, you can disagree, but if you want to do Zook, you are not doing Revo plus plus. It is just not going to happen. Honestly, it just won't. I'm sure some people can pull it off, but they're going to be skilled enough to the fact where they don't need Revo plus plus anyway. But Revolution, standard Revolution with basic abilities that automatically do them, and you go ahead and do all your thresholds, your defensives, your ultimates all by yourself, that can work anywhere. You can do anything with that. It'll take some practice for certain timings and stuff, but honestly, you can do that anywhere. There's plenty of people that do, and plenty of people getting through Zook that have that. And of course, if you are one of those people, comment down below to back me up, because I guarantee people won't believe me. But you have a lot of things you can do. It's not just working on gear, it's working on yourself, it's working on timings on stuff, it's working on getting used to specific bosses. I have done over 2,000 kills at Nex. I've done over 1,000 and about 1,800 at Araxxor. I have done about nearly 1,000 at Telos. Like, it's not that much, right, for a lot of people, but for some other people that are listening and saying, oh, you need ridiculously high gear, I guarantee those kill counts are a lot higher than yours, because if you had the same kill counts as me, you would have about the same gear as me, because you've got the money, you've got the drops, and it all averages out. So I know this video has been a big rant. I should have said at the beginning that you can minimize it. I'll probably put something on screen to say that you could, but I hope that this has motivated some people and opened your eyes a little bit, because of the reaction from my Zook video. A lot of people have said like, oh, I hadn't even thought about it like this, and you've sort of changed how I look at the game, and I'm so happy about that. There's been so many comments that I'm reading through that thinking, crap, this has actually been a good video. Like, it's actually made a change for some people and made them enjoy the game more. I hope that this video does the same for a lot of other people as well. Let me know in the comments if it has, but basically guys, play at your level, enjoy your level as well, because once you get to endgame, you're going to run out of content. You're going to run out of stuff that you enjoy doing. Enjoy being a freaking noob. That's all I can say. And don't take noob in a negative way. I wish I was a noob. I wish I could go back and do the exact same thing again. And even though I'm a noob at my level, I have so much stuff to go ahead and do. But re-experiencing Telos as a new player, re-experiencing all of God Wars 2 even, re-experiencing like Araxxor and Nex and all of God Wars 3 bosses as a challenge, I wish I could go back and do that. I wish I could start off with all the new content, all the new bosses in, and find all of them a challenge and have to relearn it all together. Alright, so I'm going to end the video here. I hope that this has helped some people understand it. I hope some people realize where I'm coming from. I'm sure plenty of people won't, and I'm sure this video again will probably get some dislikes, just like the last couple, but that's absolutely fine, because if it helps a few people, if it motivates a few people and makes some like even like 3 or 4 people or whatever, even just one person, if it makes them enjoy the game more, then I don't care. That's happy. I'm fine with that. That is what I want from this. But anyway, if you did enjoy the video, do leave a like, because it will help out a lot when the dislikes do come, because people dislike more than they like, so it's just the way it works. So do leave a like if you did enjoy, and also subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. I make a lot of different content for RuneScape, a lot of discussion stuff like this, a lot of guides and stuff on certain things. I'll make some entertaining funny stuff or whatever that I think is funny anyway. But if you do enjoy stuff like that, then make sure to subscribe as well. I know this video is ridiculously long. A lot of my videos are long, to be fair, but otherwise guys, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to my channel members for the extra support. I really appreciate it. As always, your names will be on screen right now. Thank you all so much to you guys once again. If anyone else is interested in joining the channel members, you do actually get some perks when you do support the channel as well. So you can click on the join button by the subscribe button. It will show you the list of perks you get. If you're interested, join up to channel members and send me a DM on Discord to make sure you get your early video access and all that sort of good stuff. Otherwise guys, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you all in the next one. See you later guys. Bye.